But just before we do that, I mean, really, Rory, what can you realistically, what can you tell us about season 3?
I've got to really watch Bigger and Better. I mean, when we get we're the actors are the last people to get the script, and it's happened every time. Big table and 3/4 of the cast there. It's a big room, big table. You can imagine all these characters around there. Some legends coming into the next series, and the plan is to read through the whole thing, and when your words come up, you do the thing, and you can close your eyes and feel it. And when you know you're not on for a while, it's so exciting. And they read a couple of episodes and then go, right, should we just have a break and go for a cup of tea now? No, can we keep going? The wampus, the dragons. It's all very exciting. It is getting bigger and better. The storylines are carrying on and blah blah blah, and I think they've got even more money. So it's obvious.
Okay, well, if you have a question, put up your hand, and we've got some microphones, but you know, channel the hound. I feel like I should start with you.
It's okay, I don't need the microphone, I can project. Good evening, sir. Fancy seeing you here. A very quick question and a longer one. First of all, you were talking about the daytime version of Blackwater. So you speak softly to the troops before you go out. What do you actually do in the battle scene? Is it like rock, paper, scissors?
Are you talking about in the Blackwater?
Yeah.
No, I mean, behind that door, you get to know the stuntmen in other jobs now. I mean, it's a travelling circus, the movie business, so it's, you kind of, and you can feel the tension, and you know when the door comes, you know, I've got to go do my one line in, and it is, come on boys, I fucking get it. You're going out, you're all psyching yourselves up.
What I meant was you spoke about the version for aeroplanes and so on.
Yeah.
But then you go out and you're cutting people in half.
Yeah.
Or if they just lifted that, is it like a shorter episode of
No, they just cut the line, they just blank the line, and I've got to say
so the language is out, but the blood and guts, fine with that?
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't know how that works.
The other thing I was going to ask, we've spoken about this before, but I know a lot of people here won't have heard that. In that episode, you worked with the wonderful Roy McCann.
Oh, fantastic.
Where you've spoken about at length, and of course his late son-in-law was the wonderful Edward Woodward, who you also worked with. So
I didn't know that.
He was.
Roy McCann was fantastic. He was the pyro man. He was the man that did all the firing. Do you remember him? So he started like in the Second World War kind of thing, and he's done hundreds and hundreds of bars. He's one of the guys who just leapt up, you want to hear his tales. He's fantastic. I didn't know he was related to Edward.
Edward was married to Michelle
Right.
McCann for many years.
Okay, right. God bless Edward, he was a beautiful man. I've taken it down to him a couple of times.
Okay, that was history of House Woodward. Just put up your hands on that, and we'll start with this lady in here.
I'd like to know how you prepared for the role of Sandor, other than reading the books. How did you really get into his mindset? And also, novelty question from some of my friends. Are you aware of this strange shipping of Sandor Clegane and Sansa, and how have you and Sophie Turner feel about that?
For the training, I do. It's a big physical thing, and I've got the. Well, I used to have the book. I'm still in this show. I'm training. I'm going off out to the wilds, and I'm redoing. I'm just learning the lines, and I'm trying it different ways. And to be honest, I'm just trying to be as prepared as possible, mentally and physically, because it is a real physical thing. Just wearing all that costume kind of thing, you wouldn't believe it. So, and I just sort of get into that part kind of thing. On the day though, I just try and stay as open to, I'm just a kind of tool that the director can, if he wants me to try it a different way, I'll do it. I mean, a lot of the time, it's happened before, even in Blackwater. Neil Marshall was very rushed, and you know, he was brought in at the last minute, and there was no way he was going to go around all the cast wondering if they knew what they were doing and if they were prepared and stuff. So what happened was David and Dan, the producers, would come in, and there were a couple of times when Neil would go, I was wondering if you could do it like this, and I would go, okay. And then you'd get the producers. Normally the producers in the past, I've got told them to piss off, they're in my eye line and you haven't paid me enough or you haven't paid me. And for the first time you realise, don't bite the hand that feeds you. They go, just keep it away, don't do what he says, do what they say. The Sansa thing, we've never discussed it. I kind of know what's going on, but to be honest, I'm like, la 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 la.
And rightly so. Shipping, if people don't know, that's when fans of the show are so keen for two characters to get together that they write.
It's a bit awkward. I mean, she's a wee girl, I know. And I hang out with her mum and dad, and for example, the riot scene, I remember they arrived in that riot scene when she was getting attacked, and I was killing everybody, and they arrived with quite posh and came in and went, good for you.
Is there a question from a
I was just wondering, armour's quite expensive to buy. Do they let you keep it? So they want hell of a Halloween costume.
I plan as much as I can. I haven't got the armour, but I'm hoping. I've got a guy making casts of my hands, and in a certain shack that I've got, it's a bit like that room in Highlander where he's got all the weapons, you know that man? He's making casts of my hands, and I have got quite a lot of swords now, and I'm acquiring swords more and more now. So there's going to be this place with this wall with just my giant hands holding them.
And all of the swords will fit in there. The question here?
I haven't read the books myself, but that's all right, so I don't, want any spoilers for what's coming up. But the one certainty of watching Game of Thrones so far seems to have been that death is around the corner for pretty much everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And I wonder, which I imagine, for an agent, is probably a nightmare in terms of negotiating your contracts and everything. But how does it work? Do they sort of sign you up in advance very much? I mean,
they give you a kind of be available. This could go on for a few years, but you know what? They can make you go. They can make you disappear, and it can be just budget-wise. It can be whatever. There can be just other jobs going on. I don't really know. I'm big, but the amount of people that get killed around me, I'm just very, very grateful. I can't believe I'm still alive.
The amount of people you kill as well. That's not helping. I'm going to go up the back in a second, but this lady here.
I was wondering if you felt that the Hound's moments of vulnerability made him easier or more difficult to play.
The vulnerability, it's harder acting, it's sort of stretching the muscles kind of bit. It's harder, it's more in depth, there's more acting going on. I mean, playing aggressive and running out and swashbuckling and killing, it's quite easy in a way. It's all you can do that. You put the armour on, you go, to do, some heavy dialogue scene, the last scenes there. That's harder. But it's more, you feel more achievement, when you've done it. I find it hard though. I find it easier now, getting less nervous, which is good now. They're actually putting on fake sweat for the first time.
and with the prosthetic as well, I mean, that obviously must make it harder. It's the itchy thing and the sweaty thing and midges and but as I say to anyone else complaining with all their stuff, I just say use it.
Use it!
This chat just up.
Up to this point, what would you say is your hardest thing you've had to film?
The hardest thing, what I've just done in this last series, which I can't mention, for sure. They've brought me in quite, I mean, I think I've had quite a small part, and it's just got bigger and bigger. And I think that was the idea, like this speech to Sansa, saying about the history of the hound. I think they kept that back because they wanted to bring in the hound just a bit quieter. And but it's to come. It's really meaty now. Even just the physical things going on, even fights. Instead of, "Hey, big man, this is what you do," and blah blah blah. Okay, we're going to go. Now it's 3 weeks of rehearsing. It really has gone off a few notches.
Man, if that doesn't make you want to see season 3 already. If you do have a question, just put your hand right up and I will try and get to you as much as possible.
So you've read the books, or at least some of them. Do you have a favourite character other than the Hound?
Well, I like Tyrion. And Tyrion's a dude. I mean, even in this episode here, I remember reading the book and you're just going, "Man, you are so cool." So it's Tyrion for me.
And for a lot of people, I think.